Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another night here up on the pole. Let's see, not working, is it? All right, so hopefully it's working. Let me know if you can hear me okay. It looks like everything should be on the up and up. We're here watching the number 2 of Patrick Hernandez. Hey, drivers try to sit down the best time they can here tonight. Down off there goes that number 01 of Rooster Roden. Down there to the back stretch, looking like Roden has a great time going right now. Bushnell also out on track, trying to lay down a decent time, looking there at Jack Stanley. And that number 95. As they hang on back through the back stretch, down here across through the front. Across the stripe, down here into corner number 1 here, about 3.5 minutes of qualifying to go. Bushnell laying down a decent time so far, ends up going green. Watchhorn, though, goes pink as he goes down here through the back stretch. Bushnell goes pink. Bushnell taking there, going there with a 30.42. Watchhorn, we'll see what he does. A 30.2, well, a 30.17 for Merrick Watchhorn. Okay, work down through here off the corner. Drivers trying to put on, get their best starting position here. We only got 9 cars here tonight, 3 of which are playoff drivers. 4 of which are playoff drivers that we see. They say we got 7 gone and qualified so far. Waiting on Helms and Wells to put in a time. They're sitting there watching Kadorian Davis there in 3rd. Right now, 3rd fastest with 30.37. Watchhorn hangs on to the best time with a 30.17 as they work down here off the corner, down across the stripe. Kadorian Davis gets second there with a 30.25. Gary Wells out there in the 87. Helms breaks up the playoff drivers, getting himself up there in the third with a 30.31. Wells qualifying 7th as it stands right now. Helms laying down another heater here in that 9. Coming through turn 3 and 4, back out here onto the front stretch. Down across the bottom. He will have a 30.27 for his time. So that'll be his time there in 3rd place here tonight. "40 seconds to go here before the race starts. Here we go. Waiting on him to grid up. For the Bears, 180 here tonight. All right, grid is up. Here we go. Your starting grid. Gonna be here with Cannonball iRacing Series. Starting out there on front is Merrick Watchorn and Dorian Davis there in 2nd. Helms there in 3rd. Bushnell there 4th. Rooster Roden there 5th. Hernandez there 6th, Gary Wells 7th, Jack Stanley in 8th, James Wurtzma there in 9th. That is your starting positions here tonight. Watchorn out in front. All right, here we go. Condora and Davis waiting on him to grid up. There he goes. Everybody's gridded. Here for the De Beers 180. 120 laps. So who's your drivers? Who's going to be that guy you want to watch? Now they work down here into corner number 1. Lights are up on that pace truck. Now we got that number 5, Valvoline of Condorian Davis up there on the top side. If they're in yellow, they are in the playoffs right now. This is your first round of 6. Green flags out. Here we go. Tyler Mars Tyler Helms out there. As we work down here in the corner number 1. You got Merrick Watchorn out there in the lead. Helms there trying to battle it out there up on that on the bottom side. Sorry, Davis falling back there. Here comes Helms down to the inside, coming there off the corner number 2, down that back straightaway. At number 9, Apple Auto Parts down there in the corner number 3 and 4, getting a great run. Had a great run in qualifying, having a great run now as they work here off the corner. Up here in the corner number 3 and 4, back around here onto the front straightaway. If I'm not getting turned around, oh no, we're on the back straightaway. Sorry, I did get myself turned around. Helms and Watchorn are side by side, coming there off of corner number 4. Helms hanging on to it. Watchorn up there on top. And they head on down through in the corner number 1. As you're on board there with Tyler Helms. Down here off in the corner number 3 and 4 they go. Everybody works on down through there just fine. The 91 of Watchorn retakes the lead. Helms there falls back into second. Here they go, coming off of the trio in the corner number 1, looking at the number 55 of Benjamin Bushnell as he rolls down here through 1 and 2. Up there against that outside wall there for that Husky machine. Got Hooters on the hood. Watchorn a playoff driver. Davis a playoff driver. Helms just kind of hanging in there. Bushnell back there, also a playoff driver. Head off here in the corner number 2, down that back straightaway. You got Rooster Roden going to the inside back there. Underneath Patrick Hernandez. Didn't quite get the pass, and now he's looking to the top side. But he's got to be careful. He's got Gary Wells there at 87 who's wanting to make a move. As they work on down here off the corner, Watchorn up there in front. Helms there second. Davis there third. That is how they're currently running. With Bushnell and Hernandez back here 4th and 5th. Down through the back straightaway. Here they go for the DeBears 180. Working there off the corner. Got to hang on to it here. Everybody works off the corner, looking great. Now they head down here in the corner number 1 and 2. Heading back off. And as you see down there in the bottom right, we do have our tip jar still going for those of you that might want to tip here at Figure Farm TV. We do have that link down in the description. Also have some wonderful merchandise as well. Alright, Watchorn out front, Helms there second, Davis third. Everybody single file, and then you've got our action back here with with Hernandez, Wells, and Roden all bunched up here. Green flag is out. Great racing here. Not 9 of the 120. As they work down through off of corner number 1 and 2, back out here onto the back straightaway. Merrick Watchorn out front, Helms there second, Watchorn there, Davis there in third. Everybody doing what they can to keep it straight, keep them turned where they need to. Following the lines, making sure they know where the driver in front of them is going to go. Everybody's single file. Looks like Wells might be trying to make a move on Hernandez. Now he looks down there to the inside, coming through 1 and 2. Wells down there on the inside. Hernandez up there on the top side. Work here on lap 11. Hernandez staying up there towards the top side. I'm not really sure which lane's the best here at Chicagoland in terms of where it's going to less wear your tires. But I also know, and I've heard guys talk about this, when you're doing these asphalt races, and I don't notice it too much in dirt as you want to be able to catch the car quickly in dirt, so I don't notice it as much in dirt, but I've noticed it for myself on asphalt. Changing that steering ratio a click or two higher definitely can help with tire saving, but in turn it can sometimes loosen the car up to problematic areas for a driver if they're not used to or understand. Don't turn it quite as hard, but sometimes you also got to put a little bit more wheel into it. So I mean, it's a driving strategy to save on the tires, but there's also that chance you got to play with. It's all about driver comfort. That's the biggest thing. As it's not just about being fast, it's about being fast and comfortable in that behind that wheel. I know myself, whenever I'm running here for Figure 4 Motorsports, I'm still on a G29 wheel, which, don't get me wrong, is a great wheel, but there's part of me that wants a full-size wheel. A direct drive, full-size wheel, but we'll get that in time. It just takes quite a while to get there on somebody on my type of budget. Running here tonight at Chicagoland, we're running down into the corner. Everybody heads off down through the front stretch into corner number 1 and 2. Lap number 15 on the board, 14 of them in the books. A little warm here in my seat tonight. We've kind of had a little bit of a heat wave here in Western PA where the broadcast booth is. Now we head back down here into corner number 1. Gary Wells there in fifth. You're looking at him there in the number 87. Oh, it's definitely a lot of fun. All right, Peter. Well, hopefully you can get in here next week, getting that cockpit all set up. And that's one thing I don't really have. I don't have a sim racing cockpit. My wheel's strapped right to my desk. And then I kind of have the pedals on the floor with a stop board behind them to keep them from rolling away too far. But that only goes so far. Now when I press the brake, instead of my pedals moving, my chair moves. So I got to get chocks for my wheel. Tyler Helms, he's doing really good tonight, sitting in second right now in that number 9 Napa machine. Right now he's got the 5 there underneath him of Condorian Davis as they battle it out there. Looking there as well out front, Merrick Watchorn still leading the way. Hey, driver goes side by side here. Helms drops back to third, which is where he started from. Davis getting back up to where he started if he can hang on to second place. Otherwise, these two are going to flip-flop position. Helms doing a great job up there on the top side. Way down there against that bottom line, that is Condorian Davis. As these two battle it out here. I only see 4 of our playoff contenders here tonight, so I wish we would see the field of 6, but unfortunately do not. But I also hope that we start to gain some interest. If you're watching and are interested in joining the Cannonball iRacing series, the link to find them is down in the description of the video. So in the description of the broadcast is the links to find all of our racing series that we broadcast here at FFTV. We head on down through in the corner number 1 and 2. Watchhorn out front. Helms there second as Davis now falls back in the 4th with the 55. Benjamin Bushnell getting around him up there in the 3rd. So Davis falls back another position there. Bushnell there. I would say so there, Peter, with that, as you were saying, that Helms doesn't drive a lot in these cars. I'd say he's doing really well, especially hanging on to second, compared to who's out front, who's been out front most season long, and that number 91, Merrick Watchhorn. I really haven't seen anybody battle him yet. Battles usually come down to second. And we got Helms, as we said, out there in second here at Chicagoland. Kendorian Davis here in 4th. And one fun fact about myself and Chicagoland, this is where I got my first win. Now, it wasn't in an Xfinity car like you're watching here tonight. It was in the Truck Series. So my first asphalt win came here at Chicagoland running the trucks. And here we go down here, and that's on iRacing. Sorry, folks, if you thought otherwise, but that's here on the racing sim. As they work down here into corner number 3 and 4, back across the stripe, you got Helms there out there in second. Bushnell there 3rd, Davis there 4th. Now Davis under fire from the 55 of Bushnell. Helms up there against the top side, just trying to hang on. And we see the yellow placard there on Davis and Bushnell's car. Up there on the banner of the windshield. The driver hanging it there down the back stretch. Here for the Bears, 180 here tonight. Coming up to lap 24 to be in the books. Then we'll start lap 25. 24 in the books, lap 25 now. Down here in the corner number 3 and 4 they go. All right, sorry, 1 and 2 back onto the backstretch. Heading back down in the corner number 1 and, left. Sorry, 3 and 4. As you watch Davis, here's your on board here with him. Heading into 3 and 4. He's got Helms right there in front of him. And you're watching Davis there trying to work on down through off of corner. At that number 9 of Helms up there in front of him. Got Bushnell watching on behind. Watchhorn out front in that number 91. Everybody hanging on here. Lap number 27 of the 120 in the books. 26 laps in the books, sorry. 27 up here. Running down that backstretch. Watchhorn getting ready to go into turn number 3 with everybody else battling down the backstretch. Now they come into corner number 3. Watchhorn out front. Helms there 2nd. Davis there 3rd. Kendorian Davis sitting there, as we said, in 3rd. Bushnell in 4th. Gary Wells back here in 5th at that number 87 as they roll down the front straightaway. Lap 28 now up on the board. As they work down through the backstretch. This is the Cannonball iRacing series. Helms still hanging on to 2nd, but is under fire from Davis. As Davis tries to get to the high side now. Helms hanging on there to the bottom. And it's really looking like Helms could really put that machine anywhere he'd like and be able to, where it handles really, really well. Down the back straightaway, you're looking there as the Napa Machine and Valvoline battle it out. Down here in the corner number 3 and 4. Davis now getting up there in the second as Helms falls back to third. Davis getting that run down there on the inside, but it looks like Helms getting a run back here down through corner number 1. He's going to make another run here at the bottom side. Working there through 1 and 2. Looking like the 5 might have stepped out just a little bit, but not enough to really hurt anything. Just a little bit, had to be on top of the wheel a little bit there, I'm sure. As they work down here into 3 and 4. The 9 of Helms down there on the bottom side. And as we said, Watchorn way out there in front as he comes down there in the corner number 1 again. Side by side of these two, Davis and Helms. Helms getting back in front there of Davis for the moment. Working there through the corner. Davis pulled back alongside and in front. They're coming off the corner. Helms drops there in the third. Here he comes back on the bottom side again with the 55 of Bushnell trying to push it all along. Lap 32 of the 120. Working there off of corner number 1 and 2. Back down here through the back stretch. Once they come off of 2. Watchorn, Davis, Helms, your top 3. Trying to depict where they're going to go. The Helms going down there to the bottom side. Going to see if he can get that run on the bottom. Can't quite get there. So he's going to follow it through here, through the tri-oval. Not enough. Going to pull it back up in line in behind Davis. Here comes Helm now down through 1 and 2. Getting up there beside him. Can't quite get there. As they head on back down through the backstretch. You're looking there at Bushnell's looking on. And if you're curious about the leader, that is Merrick Watchorn way out front. Let's go ahead and bring the track map up so you guys can kind of see where your driver that you might be cheering on is at. There you see that 91 out there in front going through turn 1 and 2 as each driver's here coming through 1 now. All stacked up, the 5, 9, 55, and 87 all there. And the 01 kind of hanging on to the back of that pack. Now here comes the 55 going underneath Helms right now. Going to try to hang on to it. Helms staying up top. Going to try to push it along. The 55 of Bushnell down there on the bottom side. Great racing here for 2nd through 4th. We only got 9 drivers. So unfortunately I'm sticking with this pack right here because that's where most of the action is on track. And you're catching about 8 of the drivers right here. Or 7 of the drivers, I'm sorry. Periodically you'll see that orange machine of Rooster Roden in the back. Down into corner number 1. Watchorn out front. Davis there 2nd. Helms in 3rd right now. Brushing up against that outside wall. Bushnell ends up falling back a little bit. Not sure if he fell far enough back to be in the clutches of Gary Wells. No, he did not. Lap 30 of the 120. Benjamin Bushnell up there in 4th. Chasing these drivers down in front of them. What a great night of racing it is right now for these drivers, as it looks like green flag pit stops are going to take place. Watchorn's on track on. Oh no, the 87 ends up getting turned there, coming on the pit road. Contact there. As Helms stays out on track. We come around to a third of the way through the race. Everybody else already made their stop. Helms comes in. Jack Stanley now out front with Watchorn in second. Stanley hasn't made a stop yet. Everybody else is in. As Helms getting right side tires. Left side's going on. He's down and away. Watchorn takes over second place. Stanley. Almost missed him pit road. Not sure if he got it down to speed or not. Now the two of Patrick Hernandez gets up into second place. Helms back here in sixth. Maybe a little misunderstanding on pit strategy there for Helms. And fight down here through the trial. You see Bushnell, Hernandez, and Davis. Hernandez up there on the top side. Helms has the... I thought Helms had somebody near him. No, he don't. That's a 5. All right. You're on board there with Katorian Davis coming off of turn number 2 down that back straightaway. And got Hernandez back up there to the high side. The 55 of Bushnell is there as well. Not sure which car he really wants to push along. Now you're back on board there with Dorian Davis down here in the corner number 1 and 2. Up off of the corner. Here they go. You got the 5 there of Condorian Davis. Falling back there in the 3rd at the moment as Hernandez gets up there. Davis fighting along there on the bottom side. Oh, and the 2 gets a little loose. Ends up chasing it up the racetrack and into the outside wall there off of 4. Down across the stripe, lap 45 of the 120 on the board. The Bears 180 here tonight. Down through the backstretch. You got the 5 there of Condorian Davis there in second. Merrick Watchorn there out front in first. Coming up to lap the 95 of Jack Stanley. Now we're watching this group here, the 5 of Condorian Davis and 55 of Bushnell. 2 playoff contenders battling it out for the spot here for 2nd and 3rd. Bushnell getting a great run on the high side. Davis down there on the inside. Hernandez there 4th. Helms back here in 5th. They work here now down into corner number 1 and 2. Everybody doing a great job here. And work down through the backstretch. And the corner number 3 and 4. Off of 1 and 2, back out here. We got Watchhorn, Bushnell, and Davis, all 3 playoff drivers. 1, 2, 3 right now on the scoreboard. Everybody battles it out there as you watch them all go around the speedway here tonight. Trying to find the excitement, trying to find what's going on here. There you see Bushnell in second. I don't know if anybody has anything for Watchhorn as he's almost a third of a lap ahead of everybody. Already has Stanley a lap down. There you see Helms in 5th. Now they work back here off of the corner. Here off of 4. Turn 1 and 2 out here in the backstretch. Head on back down here out of the corner, up there off of 4, back across the stripe. Kendorian Davis there in 3rd. Bushnell in 2nd. Watchhorn out there in front in 1st. Hernandez and Helms back there 4th and 5th as Helms ends up getting back up here into 4th. Slowly chasing down these guys up here at the front. He gets around the 2 of Hernandez. Hernandez working back down on the bottom side. So that pit stop, he's working it down here off of 4. With that 9 there of Helms and the 2 of Hernandez battling it out there for that 4th spot. Here for lap 54. Off of turn number 2. Helms getting up there in the 4th. Davis working here to try to get up there in the 2nd. Helms working here. Slowly get back up to try to get to where he was. Had to do a little extra work for the way his pit cycle sat. I'd expect us to see pits once again around lap 80 to get us to the end. I see the 5 going down there into the bottom. Watchhorn up there out front. Bushnell there 2nd. Helms there in fourth. Now you got first or second and third battling it out here. Bushnell and Davis. Off the corner they go, down through the backstretch. Watchorn coming across the line on the front stretch, making it lap 58. 57 laps complete. Couple laps away from halfway. Down here through the front of Chicagoland once again. Merrick Watchorn out there front. Been having a great season for himself here with the Cannonball iRacing Series. The Bears 180 being your race sponsor tonight. Head down here in the corner number 3 and 4. Thank you there, Peter, for the subscription. Definitely will appreciate that. Now head on down through here in the corner number 1 and 2 once again. Davis hanging on to second. There you see Helms closing down through the backstretch. All right, down here, out of corner number 4, down across the stripe. Over halfway now. We're halfway in the race. Now we get started on lap 61. Davis down there through off of corner number 2, down the back straightaway. We're watching Helms there in 4th. Davis up here, as we said, 2nd. Bushnell in 3rd. These two battling it out here. Watchorn out there in front. Putting another driver a lap down, trying to see who that is. Looks like that's James Wurtsma. Merrick Watchorn there out front. Davis 2nd. Bushnell 3rd. Not really having much of racing action to try to find themselves on the racetrack. So if anybody is watching and wants to join the Cannonball iRacing Series, please do so. There is a link in the description on how to get a hold of them. As well as if you're interested in the Freedom Motorsport Alliance or Coast to Coast or even Roughneck, that's all down in the description as well. We also have the Flicker Farm TV merch shop. And down here in the corner number 3 and 4 comes that 55 of Bushnell hanging on to the 3rd spot. Helms trying to keep it going, trying to keep from getting, it looks like Hernandez is coming up there trying to battle with him. But Helms is trying to set his sights on a podium finish here. Head on down here in the corner number 3 and 4. Back out here onto the front stretch. The 95, Jack Stanley going through turns 1 and 2. Here not too far ahead of this pack of Davis, Bushnell, Helms, and Hernandez. There you see Davis. He's got the 55 of Bushnell coming there behind him. Lap 66 of the 120 on the board. And we see Helms down there across the bottom, back up here onto the speedway. And I've heard kind of mixed thoughts on that whole move there, as you saw, or what you saw their helms do. Dropping down there across that apron, down across the start-finish line. I've heard different things about it. I personally stay on the racing surface. Some other drivers, as you're on board here with Rooster Roden. But going through, dropping down off the track, coming across onto that apron, I heard different things from different drivers, where some drivers will say, well, it gets me a couple, a few tenths faster, where other drivers say that few tenths isn't worth the tire wear that it provides. Going down there down onto the bottom side, it does wear the tire differently because you're leaving the racing surface, going down there onto the flat, and then coming back up onto the banking of the racing surface. So that little bit of a dip there, sometimes some drivers don't particularly like to do that. Now we see Rooster Roden. He's under fire from the 87 of Gary Wells. Wells down there on the inside. I saw somebody coming off of pit road trying to catch. That's the 2 of Patrick Hernandez, as he's made 2 stops now. Down here off of turn 4, you're seeing there Rooster Roden and Gary Wells. Everybody else is spread out if I count the dots. Yep, everybody's still out on track. Your closest matchup right now is between Rooster Roden and Gary Wells. Lap number 70 on the board. Here we go, back down across the stripe. Here tonight at Chicagoland for the DeBears 180. These drivers trying to put on the best show they can with as few of them as there are. Patrick Hernandez a lap down to everybody now, not just the leader. So he's going to be 2 laps down, I think. They're back up here watching Davis in that number 5 as he's gaining on the lap machine. Looks like that's the 95 of Jack Stanley that they're catching. Stanley slides up, lets them around. Sometimes it's just not worth the fight whenever you're going a lap down, whenever drivers are much quicker than you. It's just better to get out of the way of the faster guys, especially when you're in playoff contention like this. You don't really want to ruin somebody's race and potentially take them out of playoffs. We started the first round of the 6 tonight. So there's 6 drivers right now contending to try to get into the top 4, if I'm thinking correct. I want to double check that right now. Okay, no, we go from the round of 6, and we cut it in half to the round of 3. So the last 3 races will be for the championship. Battling it out there in those spots. Oh, no! Bushnell up into that outside wall. You saw it as you were on board there. Coming up 4. Bushnell finds that outside wall not quite the way he was wanting to. They work here. Down in the corner, number 3 and 4. Davis there in second. Bushnell there third. Helms here in fourth. Helms up towards the top side of the racetrack as he works on down here. Across the stripe. Lap 76 of the 120 on the board. And as we're racing here, here is the charity race that we'd like to try to get going at WCXRA, the White Cane Extreme Racing Association. And it's a charity race here for the Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. Proceeds going to NAMI, or the National Alliance on Mental Illness. So we look forward to trying to gather that, bring some awareness to suicide prevention. I know somebody is running there, or everybody knows somebody that's been touched by mental illness in some shape or form. So we need to try to bring light to it here at White Cane Extreme Racing Association, along with others. So if interested, there is the poster. You can also most likely find it floating around on Facebook in different areas. Wurtzma there. Ryan is back here in third. Just trying to hang on here tonight. He heads off of turn number 2 down through the backstretch. He is sitting in 9th out of the 9 drivers here tonight. Wurtzma is out front. Davis, Bushnell, and Roden all on pit road for their second time. Kind of as I thought here at 80, or coming here to 80, or here at lap 80. Gary Wells bringing it down there, hitting them brakes hard. Helms still out there. He did not pit yet. Jack Starkey has not pitted yet. Merrick Watchorn also has not pitted. A second, or Watchorn has pitted. Wells here on pit road, he has completed. Stanley and Helms have not completed 2 laps or 2 pit stops yet. Head on back out here. Lap 80 on the board. The 91 there. Going across the line, here you see Helms. Helms bringing it in this time. Full pit stop, that's going to drop him back as here comes Watchorn out of the back corner. He's going to stay on the lead lap most likely. Just unfortunately, he's going to hand the lead over to Watchorn. And he comes down through. I think Helms is in his pit box. Right side tire is going on. There he said Wurtzma. Okay, everybody else got back on the lead lap except for Wurtzma. As the 9 there of Helms is rolling out of the speedway. Or rolling out of pit road, rather. Sitting 6th. Trying just to keep it going as we see the 87 of Gary Wells coming up behind him. Watchorn back here. Coming down through the backstretch. Nobody's around him. He's coming up to the back end of the field and he has pitted, or he has made 2 pit stops. Last one being at lap 77. Now the one thing Helms has going for him is he's got 3 lap fresher tires than everybody in front of him. Will that come into play? That's going to be the question here as the race rolls on here at Chicagoland. As you see Davis comes across the line. Bushnell, Hernandez, Rooster Roden, and Helms back here in 6th. Helms is chasing down all these drivers, and it looks like the 95, Jack Stanley's down on the apron, just getting out of the way. I see Bushnell there in third. Hernandez there fourth. There's Rooster Road in fifth. Tyler Helms back here in sixth. Now we got the 91 putting somebody a lap down. That's the 95 of Stanley. So Stanley going another lap down. Stanley now 2 laps down. Hernandez back here in fourth. Rooster Road in fifth. Tyler Helms there 6th. Gary Wells 7th. James Wertzma there in 8th. As they keep battling it out here. Here comes Davis across the line. 85 of the 120 here complete. Or I should say 84 of the 120 complete. Now we see Helms here trying to chase down Roden. Down here in corner number 1. Gary Wells will be the next victim to go lap down here, if it shall happen. And we see Watchorn there coming off of 2 down that back straightaway. Davis coming here in through 3 and 4. Oh, I'm sorry, no, across the stripe down here into corner number 1 and 2. Helms back here coming across the stripe, now heading into corner number 1 and 2 himself. And that Napa number 9. Gary Wells there 7th. Wertzma blinking in and out, coming across the line. Not sure what's going on with Wertzma. He was just blinking in and out. There he goes again, disappearing. You can see that 3 up on the map, blinking in and out. Kendorian Davis slowly catching him. And work down here through the back stretch. Down here into corner number 1 or working down here into corner 3 and 4. Back out onto the front stretch. Watchorn out there in front. And these drivers hanging on out here. Watchorn in front. Davis 2nd. Bushnell 3rd. Hernandez there 4th. In the corner number 1 and 2 they go. The 5 there of Davis. Here at lap number 91. Bushnell there 3rd. Helms here in 4th. Now they got around Rooster Roden along with Hernandez. Hernandez there falling back to 6th as Rooster got around him. Helms trying to chase down Bushnell, trying to get up there in that podium. He's got about 30 laps to do it. Less than 30 laps to do it. Here they come to lap 93. Here soon. They're on lap 92 right now. You see Bushnell there 3rd. On board with him. You got Helms back here in at number 9. As they all hang out here in through the backstretch across the front. Down here in the corner number 1 and 2. out here. Great job. So Watchorn once again possibly taking this week's win. Jack Stanley there with them in that number 95. Trying to stay on 1 lap now. 26 laps to go. Watchorn there as your leader. Davis back here second. Bushnell third. Helms back here in fourth. Rooster Roden back here fifth. Hernandez back here sixth. Do we think Helms can get up here and battle in the third spot? I don't know. I know Wertzman's down a lap. Stanley's down a lap. So Stanley did get 1 lap back. Work there off of 2. They all seem to get bunched up once again. There you see Helms diving down there on to below that apron. And there you kind of see that bounce and that bank that I'm talking about. These drivers, some drivers say they don't really like putting their car through it because it can, 1, upset them, and 2, increases tire wear. Davis here beside the lap down machine of Wertzma. Wertzma goes lap down to Davis. Bushnell there. Looks like Wertzma's up here against that outside wall. Almost seems sucked into it. Staying out of the way for Bushnell, and a Helms coming there behind him. Helms going to the top side. Wertzma down there on the inside. Wertzma blinking in and out. Helms gets around him. Okay. 23 laps to go as Helms is chasing down Bushnell. Got under half a second separating them in closing. And they work down the backstretch here in the corner number 3 and 4. Who's quicker through the corner? Trying to see what the lap times are. Bushnell is a little slower than Helms. As coming across the line, Bushnell ran a 30.74. Helms ran a 30.59. Yeah, I'm sorry, that's our best laps. Coming across the line, they were about equal with a 31.75 for Bushnell and a 31.76 there for Helms. But Helms can run a little quicker than Bushnell. Lost a little bit there, creeping up on a second gap between Bushnell and Helms. Helms trying to chase him down once again here in the corner number 3 and 4. Bushnell there in third. Hey, you see that 5 of Davis. Looking like Watchorn is in the pits. This could get interesting here. And Helms takes over that 4th spot. Watchorn's down there on Roden also. Gary Wells. Pitting a lap later. Does that give Helms a little bit of fuel to get here to the end? Gotta make you wonder a little bit here. So what might have looked as we're gonna take it a lap short might play out here. We'll see though. Watchhorn's back behind him by a half a lap. Helms gets up there in the third. I don't know if Watchhorn really meant to take all those tires. I think he just wanted a little extra fuel, which would have slowed down his pit stop. Alright, it's going to get interesting here as now Helms gets up there into second, chasing down Davis. And as we said, his last pit lap that I'm showing here is 73 for Wurzma. Watchhorn last pit of the year at lap 100. Before that, he pitted at lap 77. Fuel saving going on with Davis as you hear him kicking that clutch in. Do we have the same thing going on here with Helms? I don't hear Helms hitting that clutch, so I don't know if he's fully worried about it. He's got the leader. Does sound like he is using some fuel saving measures. So it's going to get interesting. Helms currently sitting there second. The two Hernandez on pit road. Rooster Road and Gary Wells all pitted 3 times. As we said, Watchhorn pitted there at lap 100. That is also when Roden and Wells pitted as well. So we'll see with him pushing, with Helms pushing the lap count on the first 2 stages. Is he now able to push that car to the finish? And I think Davis is trying to get every little bit out of that machine as he can. And he is shorter on fuel than what Helms is. This is going to get interesting, folks. Real interesting. Real fast as they come here off of 4. Helms there in second. Did he play his cards right? As Wells, Wurzma, Stanley, Hernandez. Hernandez is out. And that number 2, I don't see him on the scoreboard there on the map. So Hernandez is officially out of the race. Called it done here tonight at Chicagoland. Coming down there in the corner number 3, Dorian Davis there in front with Helms there in second. As you watch the battle coming there off of 4. Helms there in second. Slowly gaining on the leader. Helms trying to just run his race. Davis really going through some fuel saving. And come here off of turn number 2. And you hear that clutch go in. And slowly comes out on the corner. So he's trying to save as much fuel as he can. But he knows that Helms is coming. And you hear that clutch go in. Davis just trying to make it to the end. I don't think he's going to worry too much that Helms is there behind him, as Helms definitely has the fuel to get there. Bushnell is another one. I don't know if Bushnell has quite the fuel. He pitted 3 laps earlier than Bushnell. So Bushnell is he back here trying to save fuel. Ten laps to go. On board here with Bushnell. Yeah, he playing with the clutch also. going to get interesting. Merrick Watchorn slowly coming here. Now, Watchorn is running a little quicker, but he's got a 2-second gap over Helms, or behind Helms, that is. We see Rooster Roden going a lap down there, getting in between. Or no, Rooster Roden gaining a lap back, I'm sorry. And they come there, battling there with Davis. Helms coming up here. Helms needs to try to get up there and get around Davis here before too long. Watchorn's coming. Now they head off the corner here. You see Helms stays up top. The 87 now of Gary Wells getting a lap back. Down off in the corner, number 3 and 4. Working down here off the backstretch. Denina Helms is there. Watchorn now there in second as he's getting held up here. Watchorn now back to the lead. Wow, where'd he come from? After his pit stop, come back around and he's running away with it again. Helms moves up there in trying to fight for second. I do wonder sometimes how Watchorn can pull these stunts off. He's a full second faster right now than the guys there in second and third, and he's almost a half a second faster just on his best time, it looks like. Well, maybe not quite half a second, but 0.3 of a second faster. And down here through the backstretch, he pulls away from Helms. Helms trying to hang on to second. Working here off at corner number 2 down that back straightaway. There you see Helms up top. Going around the lap machine of Jayden Wertsma. 3 laps to go. The 91 of Watchorn out here in front. Coming up on the lap machine there of Gary Wells. I honestly thought Helms played the cards right to finish this one out. I don't know how Watchorn pitted, got 4 tires, and still managed to bring it on through the field like that. Now he's chasing down, as we said, Gary Wells in at 87. 2 laps to go as they come here out of corner number 4. Last lap. Helms is in second. Watchorn out front. Wertsma's back here in 8th. Helms there in second. Bushnell third. Davis 4th. See Stanley, Wertsma back here in the back. Here they come out of there. Oh, watch it there. Watchorn almost caught the back quarter panel of the 87 of Gary Wells. Gary Wells just trying to stay on the lead lap here as they come to the line. And they do. Watchorn there gets the win. Helms there second. Here comes Bushnell in third. I bet you he's possibly out of fuel. Davis out of fuel back here in turn number 4. Rooster Roden has a chance to get up here and take some spots away. As you see Davis coming through there. Here comes Jack Stanley, Wurtzman coming there off of tire number 4 as well. And we said 55. He's slow there off of turn number 2. Bushnell there in second. Helms. Well, Rooster Roden coming up there. He's going to get fourth. Kendorian Davis there fifth. Gary Wells there sixth. Jack Stanley seventh. James Wurtzma there eighth. And Patrick Hernandez, as we said, did not finish the race here tonight. So there is the ending results. Now to see if we can get with our winners here. Look at here. Looks like we have in third Benjamin Bushnell. Good evening here, Ben. How's it going?
Good.
Well, you got the win here, or the, should say, got the third place tonight, sorry. Trying to see if I got something here. So, but you did a great job navigating that field here tonight, getting up there in the third. I know it wasn't easy, that's for sure.
No, you know, and it kind of turned into a fuel mileage race there. That last run, I was saving the entire time, and I still ran out on corner 4. I mean, it was enough to get a top 3. Probably should have saved a little bit, you know, the other runs, and it would have gave me a little better shot, at least second. Barrett pretty much had it in the bag, but yeah, not bad. I'll take third for the first race in the round of 6, so I'll take it.
Well, I don't understand how Merrick made the pit stop there at lap 100, got 4 tires, and came out and still got the win.
Yeah, that was that 15-second lead he had going in there. I mean, yeah. And then the new tires and us saving, like, it was a perfect storm, and, you know, he ended up winning by, you know, what, 5 or 6 seconds, too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. He just seems so quick, and it's like nobody can hang with him.
Yeah, and, you know, we think we can hang with him in practice and do a run, and then it comes to the race, and he just, you know, sandbags us and smokes us in the race. So we'll figure it out.
Alrighty, well, congrats on third. You got sponsor shout-outs. Anybody want to thank for getting third place tonight?
No, just I want to thank Merrick for giving us this league. Thank you for broadcasting. Thank my wife. You know, she lets me have this fun on Friday nights. And, yeah, thanks a lot, man.
Alrighty, well, congrats, and we'll see you next week.
Yep, see you later.
Alright, so that was Benjamin Bushnell. There, our third place finisher. Now we'll get with Tyler Helms. Good evening there, Tyler. How's it going?
Good.
Man, I thought you played that strategy right.
Yeah, you know, obviously, I was looking at the, you know, the field in the first round or whatever, and I seen, because I knew I wasn't going to be able to, you know, keep up with Merrick after, you know, I was, like, trying to tire save, trying to try different lines, and just kind of figure out 3 and 4. You know, I seen we could get to, like, around lap 38, 39-ish, so I'm like, you know what, let's go try something. And so I wasn't really clutching on the first run, but I was able to get it to lap 40. And then on the second run, I would clutch just a little bit to get it to lap 80. And then on the final run or whatever, I had 42 in the tank originally, but then, you know, how iRacing's estimated is I had a burn. It burns a little bit more depending on how you're driving. And I was clutching and I was still running, you know, like lap times with Benjamin and Kendora, and so I was like, you know, I'm doing something right. If they're going to be able to make it to the end, and I am, I know I'm going to get around them. It was a little scary though. 5 laps to go. I had exactly 5 laps left. You know, we got around Ken, and we clutched 2 more corners, and I came to 2 to go with 3 laps extra. So I'd say we played it out very well. I knew we weren't going to have the speed to, you know, win off of, you know, like raw pace, but you know, first ever start in P2 it's not too bad.
No, you did a great job. I'd say, you know, strategy-wise, playing real well there. And, you know, Bushnell and Davis, they both were clutching too hard through that last stage, trying to push them cars to the end.
Yeah, I seen them. I didn't know exactly what their strategy was, because I seen Merrick pitted pretty early, so I'm like, okay, you know, obviously I don't know most of these guys in this league. I mean, I know Ken. You know, I used to drive for him in different leagues, but like, I don't know what their strategy was. I don't know if they were going to try to clutch or not. But then I was clutching. I was kind of around the same lap times as them. Granted, I was, you know, on fresher tires, so I couldn't really. Honestly, I couldn't tell if they were saving or not. But you know, obviously we saved better. You know, this is the exact way I wanted to, you know, put my name out there in this league to start it out. You know, next season I'm not going to be full time, but you know, if I make the playoffs, you know, we can see what's going to happen from there.
Alrighty, well, hopefully you can try to find some strategy to get around that guy out front, Watchhorn.
Yeah, I think all it is really is just me being able to figure out this car. I was really solid in the trucks before, and then I figured out the next gen, and you know, I haven't really run much of this car at all. But once I figure it out, there's no doubt in my mind. I think I can keep up with them.
Alrighty, well, we look forward to that, and great job getting second place tonight in that number 9 Napa machine. Man, you got sponsors, shout-outs, anybody you want to thank?
You know, my team owner, you know, Peter Hoppy, Kings Racing, you know, you know, Napa No House on the car. You know, Merrick for, you know, he gave me a little tip going into, you know, turn 3. I mean, everybody that ran too, you know, it's clean, very, very clean race, which I'm not used to in other leagues. You know, obviously, you for, you know, streaming, taking the time out of your day. That's pretty much it.
Alrighty, well, my pleasure, and you guys have yourself a great night. Enjoy second place the best you can. I mean, it was well earned.
Yep, thank you.
Alright, that was Helms there, our second place finisher. Now we'll get with Watchhorn, sorry. Good evening there, Watchhorn. How's it going?
Doing good, sir. Doing good.
Man, oh man, I thought Helms played his strategy right, but apparently your speed was just something to be content with.
Yeah, no, I knew we were going to be short. For whatever reason, my fuel mileage later in the runs just got worse and worse. I got a great fuel mileage the first run where I got 40 laps. And then when we got going, on the second run, I lost 2 laps, so I was like short by 3. And then by the time that I was coming towards the end of that run, I'm like, I'm 5 laps short to the good. So I'm just like, all right, we're just going to throw a Hail Mary. And I'm just going to pit for fresh tires and get a full tank of fuel and just chase them down. That was my whole thing. Those last 20 laps, I was pushing the hardest I did the entire run of the first 2 that we did. So it just comes down to that strategy, really, and honestly, just, you know, having a green flag run. So if it was not a green flag run and we all had to pit, I don't know if I was going to be able to get back that lead, and that would have thrown away all my strategy. So the fact that we went green from flag to flag worked out in my favor.
I mean, some of these guys, they're trying to figure out where you're getting all your speed from.
Honestly, it's just the brakes and how I drive the car is fundamentally different than a lot of guys. I discovered that when you went down to 3 and 4, there's 2 black lines that you can tell right before you enter 3. If I could just hit the brakes right there and roll the bottom, the car doesn't hit the bumps, and I can rotate it and then punch out and get going. Same thing with 1 and 2. If I hit the top of the hill at 1 and just dive it down low, just try to hug the wet line as much as humanly possible, and let the car naturally rotate itself on its own, and then just
stomp on the gas, the car will rotate. So it comes down to how you drive your brakes, how you set up your brakes for the run, your offset's important, and your steering ratio. So it comes down to everyone. I mean, most of us are running, I want to say 16 and above, or 16 to 1. And I know Gary was running 10 offset, and I changed my offset from 9 to 8 because I just could not drive the 9 too much because I felt like it was bottoming out and I was, chafing the splitter. So, I mean, it comes down to how you feel comfortable behind the wheel. So it's fundamentally how I drive differently than most guys.
Well, you got sponsor shout-outs. Anybody you want to thank for getting that victory again tonight?
Yeah, I'll give you a shout-out for, of course, broadcasting and showcasing us. I appreciate you. I know the league does. It's fun to go back and watch the excitement and listen to your commentary. It's quite comical and enjoyable and more lively than most. So I appreciate you for that. Give a shout-out to Twiggy QSA, the league, all the guys that come out week in and week out. I know we just moved on from round of 10, so 4 guys went to go watch the Richmond race. 2 of them are non-playoff drivers. The 2 others are playoff drivers, but they went to go see races, and some of them have work and whatnot. So it's unfortunate, but it's just part of that byproduct of everything. Give a shout out to my family, my loved ones, my girlfriend. Love them all, and just if I can finish strong this year, with 50 wins, I have 2 more wins before I hit the big 5-0 for all-time wins. So I'm hoping I can get 2 more wins at least, and fight for my 4th championship. So we're doing pretty well. Points are updated, so it's going to be a fight for the battle between everyone. I mean,
for sure.
So thank you so much, and
well,
see how next week goes.
Well, if somebody's wanting to join Cannonball, say, they're watching this and say, hey, that looks fun, I might want to join that. What do they have to do to join?
Casper Friendly Ghost took away my mic. I don't know. Absolutely. Just by clicking that link, guys, in the YouTube channel, you guys are more than welcome to join. Part-timers, full-timers. And then we also have 2 nights of racing. Thursday nights is our ARCA rotating recruitment series. So we start around 6:30 p.m. Eastern, and then 7:10 to 7:20 is usually when the race goes. We're in the playoffs right over there right now for the guys. So make sure you guys also follow our Instagram. We're on Cannonball iRacing Series. I think .gov or .org. I have to go back and look at my handle on Instagram, but follow and like on that. We'll be posting pictures and stuff like that and updates to the points and all the drama from the league. And then, of course, on his YouTube channel, guys, please do like and follow. Can't do about this man. And, of course, like you said, go to the description. You want to race with us, you're more than welcome to join off the link. If he needs a new updated one, that's perfectly fine. And, of course, what you guys see on Friday nights is the byproduct and the product of this league. And we hope to make it fun and, camaraderie between members and keep it going. We're a very small league right now. We used to be a big one, and if you're wanting to and willing to, come on out.
All right, it sounds great, Watchhorn, and we look forward to seeing playoffs continue next week. As I'm looking here at the schedule, trying to read it here. Looks like we're going to Richmond.
Yes, sir. Richmond is next week.
Well, and I know the trucks the trucks for official iRacing were there this week, and man, my safety rating tanked this week. Richmond and I don't get along, so it'll be interesting to see what the league does.
It's either a short track or it's a play track where everyone loses their SR and IR. So it's a byproduct of iRacing, and they know what it is. But we are officially 5 races left in the season as a total, so it's going to be closing up this chapter and moving forward. So I can't wait, and hope everyone enjoys the ride, keeps coming and tuning in on your channel. We always appreciate everyone who wants to chat it up with us.
All right, yeah, we'll all right, so looks good. Looks like we're going to 200 laps next week for the Midnight Lightning 150 at Richmond. So should be a fun race to watch.
It should be. Hopefully a lot of bumping and grinding and a lot of people trying to send it on each other at once. So it's going to be a great race. We can't wait.
Short track racing at its finest.
It is a home track for me, so we gotta go 3 in a row. We won Martinsville, we won this one. Let's try to go for the third one. Hopefully we can get it done. If not, it's just racing.
Alrighty, great job tonight, and congrats on that victory.
Thank you, sir.
Alright, so that was Merrick Watchorn, our winner here tonight. I want to thank everybody again for coming out watching here at Flieger Farm TV. All right, there. We'll get with you here after the race there, Ukrainian Racing League, and see what we can do there to help you out. So, again, thank you so much there for everybody joining in here tonight, watching here at Flieger Farm TV on the pole tonight. We're here from Chicagoland, having a great time. Even though we only had 9 drivers, still put on a show. I honestly thought Helms had it in the bag, but Watchorn, with his pitch strategy, ended up coming out on top. So, great job, and we'll see you again next week. Well, I guess Cannonball iRacing Series will be here next week. On the pole, they're going to be going here to Sunday night for their Xfinity of Freedom Motorsport Alliance. And I can't remember where that is, forgive me, but we'll have that link up in YouTube here. Not before too long. We usually try to keep it a week at a time. So thank you all for watching, and have a great night.
Late nights turn to days. Don't wanna let you down.